Alright, so I get it. Last time you saw me, I look like this. Now I look like this. So I look a little creepy, but there's a reason why I got my hair cut like this and not the crew cut. But anyway, I know this video is late. I know this video is late, but the reason for that is because yeah, I was caught up with doing all those Marvel reviews, reviewing the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was caught up with doing that. The movie came out a lot earlier than what it was meant to, so I had to quickly rush to get those videos, those reviews out as quickly as possible. So I didn't have enough time to watch and review Season 8 of The Walking Dead. I watched half of it, couldn't watch the second half of it because I got so caught up with the Marvel reviews. But you know, I've reviewed the previous 7 seasons, so it's not like I'm not gonna review future seasons. It's just sometimes they will be late, like this one is. Anyway, I'm gonna get straight into this review. And the first thing I want to talk about is the first episode. The first episode, you know, when I was first watching it, I was like, oh, okay, it's a slow start to get us into the rhythm of things. But then going back and watching it, I it was actually quite annoying, you know, how slow it was. Because it basically starts out with everyone just standing around and talking. Like there's a scene where they're all getting ready, and it's a one take where where the camera's just going around all these different people talking and stuff, and like with them saying, "Oh, what you just met me. We all just met each other." Like stupid lines like that. It's like no shit. But even when the our group, the survivors, that's their name, when they go to confront Negan and his group. I can't believe I forgot the villain's name. Anyway, when they go to confront Negan and the saviors at the sanctuary, I think the name is, and they're just standing there talking, and there's 2 points where I think they're going to start fighting, but they don't actually start fighting. The talking just keeps going on and on and on, and it's like, this is not what we were told was going to happen. We were told from last season that this season would be more fast-paced, and it just didn't start off that way. But only in the first episode. But as the episodes came out, it actually, things really did start to pick up, and they got more interesting. It's really windy outside. One of the things that I noticed when things started to pick up that actually really intrigued me was that it wasn't all big epic shoot 'em up battles. There were a couple scenes where they're just trying to get this one little thing or achieve this one little thing that is very important for them to win the bigger battle. But it's specifically in one episode where the saviors are trying to transport this machine gun, this very powerful big machine gun, to the sanctuary to kill all the walkers that have them trapped there. And this is very important for the saviors. And our group, the survivors, with Ezekiel, Jerry, I think his name is, and Carol, fighting to stop them from transporting this machine gun. And it's an actual, there's a whole episode just about this machine gun, just about them all fighting over this machine gun, and it's very it's very small and insignificant, yet if the saviors were to get it, it would have a huge impact on the overall war that is between the saviors and the survivors. So it was very interesting, and it reminded me that sometimes the smallest battles can have the biggest effect over the war, and that it's not just all guns a blazing. It's not just all like a big, huge group of people coming together and fighting each other. There's little tiny battles. And that was one thing I found interesting. Another thing that I found interesting was Daryl this season. Daryl, I admittedly did not like too much last season because he's the reason why Glenn is basically dead. But I really liked Daryl this season because, not like him, I like him overall, but I found him a little more interesting this season because he was killing people left and right. Where Rick and a couple others would say, hey, only one person needs to die. That being Negan, right? And every time Rick or someone else would try and give someone a chance, Daryl just come along and shoot him more than once. When Rick is thinking about keeping these people alive, and Daryl's just coming along and shooting them, and I found it interesting because it is showing us or reminding us who Daryl is. It's showing us who Daryl is at his core, and maybe showing us who he was before the end of the world. So it was really interesting. It was a little, you know, a peek into who Daryl really is and what kind of person he is. Alright, so Morgan this season went fucking nuts. He was insane this season, and I do mean in the literal sense. And it's not like he hasn't been insane before, because he has. I can't remember what season it was, but there's a season and a couple episodes that explore his insanity and how he has to kill for the sake of killing. He has to get it done. It has to be finished. That's his whole thing in his head. And this season he sort of goes back to it because they're in the middle of a war, and that is very traumatic. And he, I think, is the one that felt it the most, where he's sort of reverted back to the, oh, I have to kill for the sake of killing. But this season he went even further. In a specific scene where there is a savior that's on top of him, he's trying to stop this savior, trying to kill him. We've got Ezekiel in the room, we've got Carol in the room, and we've got another savior in the room, Gregory, I think his name was. And Morgan puts his hand in the guy's stomach and rips out his guts. I was speechless, and it was a good scene, and I'm not saying it's a bad scene, but it was like holy shit, that went really far, really quickly. And I'm not the only one who had the stunned silence. Like, there were Ezekiel, Carol, and Gregory, I think his name was, both were stunned silence. Both of them, sorry, not both, all three of them. Like, we've got two of our people and one savior in the room. All of us, me, the viewer included, were like, whoa. And the Gregory, the savior guy, he ran off in terror. Anyway, I just really love that scene. It really puts into perspective, how far Morgan can go, and he might be possibly the most damaged out of all of them. All right, so this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about one of my most favorite scenes in the whole season. I do have other favorite scenes, but this one just really, I just really loved it. And what it is what I call the night fight scene. Basically what's happening is the saviors are going to the hilltop to kill everyone in the hilltop, to just get them over and done with. And the saviors roll up. It starts a fight, of course. Our people, the survivors, are fighting back. The saviors eventually get into the hilltop. They get past the gates. They're in the hilltop. Our people retreat back. They retreat into the darkness, into the house and whatever. They just retreat into the shadows, basically, like full-on Batman style. And then Simon starts ordering his men around. Go that way, we'll go into the house, we'll see what's going on. And they start doing their little whistle to try and scare the saviors, the survivors, our people. So the saviors are doing their little whistle to try and scare our people, the hilltop. And it's just not working, because the hilltop freaking creeped the shit out of me when they just retreated into the darkness, and then in an instant second they just come out and start shooting the fuck out of the saviors. And the saviors like try and go around the side. No, they're there too. They're shooting at them, and they have to retreat back. And then while the saviors are retreating back to try and leave Hilltop, boom, comes out Jesus, Rick, and all the other survivors just shooting up the saviors. I was like, wow, this is how far our people have come. How far the survivors have come, and how far the Hilltop have come, how prepared they were. And I gotta be honest, I was more scared of the Hilltop than the saviors this time, which has never happened before. I was more scared for the saviors than the survivors. It was such a great scene. I love that scene. It's one of my all-time most favorite scenes of, I wouldn't say the whole show, but the season. Also the Morgan scene as well. Also really quickly, the last scene where Rick doesn't kill Negan. What a fucking mistake. I think it's a mistake. This is one of those things where I was like, nah, Negan is too evil not to kill. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. I'm gonna see you in my review for Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. See you then.